End the show right there. Stop. That's the end of the show where you're talking about freezing and the video freezes. I'm done. Drop the mic. I'm out of here. Hi, Nikki here. This is KastKing on the line with your host, Nikki. Hello, beautiful people. Good evening. Welcome to KastKing on the line with your host, Nikki. And tonight we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Matt Jollymore. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to be here. This is quite an honor to be on this show.
Well, you just put a smile on my face. I'm so excited to have you on the show, or the podcast, KAST podcast, like in KastKing. I got to come up with a really cool name for the show. Come hang out at the podcast. I'll come up with something. But welcome to the show, Matt. I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh.
So I'm really interested how you got started. I mean, where did you go to school? What did you go to school for?
I actually went to school in something completely away from fishing. I went for computer engineering. I went all the way down to DeVry in Arizona and lived down by where AJ is, and came back up here, went to St. Scholastica, and about second trimester, money started getting tight, and the guy put a carpet knife in my hand, and I went to be a professional carpet layer for probably the next 12 years.
Wow.
And yeah. But as a carpet layer, it kind of takes a beating on some of your bones. And next thing you know, I'm back in school and back being a computer engineer. And now I'm a infrastructure engineer senior for one of the biggest hospital systems in Minnesota. And that's really how I formed my fishing.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So you're a man that wears many hats. You've done a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't grow up with a whole lot. So I've done everything from farming to bulldozers to, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on. Always just, no matter what I did, I always paid my own way.
Absolutely. Now, did you have family that were into fishing, or is that something you just grew up loving? Are the outdoors?
No. Well, really, my story is kind of a sad story, but it ends up good in the end.
Oh, please tell me.
You know, my grandfather, as early as I could walk and carry a trout basket, would take me out trout fishing, and you know, I've got a Norwegian grandmother, and the one thing a Norwegian believes in is you eat. Everything stops and you eat, and if you don't eat, you're sick. So from trout fishing to going out in the streams and that, when I was 5-6 years old, my grandmother's voice would literally travel an entire lake. And me and my grandfather would be out there fishing, and we'd blow off a meal, and grandma's voice would come. And I didn't mind getting in trouble, and he didn't mind getting in trouble as long as I was with him, you know. And when I was 11 years old, he passed away. And it was all about fishing at that point. I mean, I lived, breathed. I mean, everything I did was with my grandfather. It was about fishing. But when he passed, I put up my fishing poles. It was just too hard to continue. And I didn't fish for, another 20 years. I just laid it down. But then I had some kids, and I thought, we're going to get back into fishing, you know. And grandfather was long gone. So I mean, I didn't get the education I might have gotten. I mean, I know I would have gotten an unbelievable education from him. My dad was an artist, and if you know anything about artists, they're not generally fishermen. They like to paint the fish, not, you know. And so me and my father started fishing, and I had to figure things out. And I got a little bit here and there, and we bought a boat, and it was just an old 1989 Mr. Pike. It was an aluminum boat. It was the best boat I ever had, and he ended up passing away before I could even use it with him. And so I took that boat out, and I mean, I still today always carry one of his watches in every single boat I've ever had, always. But the problem is that on the bigger lakes, there wouldn't be anybody that would go with me. You know, that boat wasn't really made for like a Mille Lacs lake that you might be having 3.5 foot waves on. And, you know, that's actually the beginning of my doing tournaments, was all by mistake. I decided I'm going to get a boat that no matter who's with me, they're going to feel safe. I'm relaxed, because it's fun to fish alone, but it's not as much fun as fishing with people. I mean, I'd rather have people in the boat. So I bought this huge 28-foot cuddy cabin aluminum boat, and I could hear the grunting going on, and I made the seats on it. And I looked at the motor, and the motor was probably 30 years old, and I said, I better put a new motor on it. So I brought it out to one of our boat stores out there, and he calls me back the next morning and said, you better come take a look at your boat. And the whole transom had ripped off the back of the boat.
Oh, wow.
And I went, he goes, we'll be putting a motor on there. So I'm walking through and through the showroom, and my wife says to me, well, that's a cute boat. And it was a Tracker B175 open hull. And I said, would you go on Mille Lacs with it? And she said, you know what, this feels nice and safe. Yeah, I will. And as I'm walking out the door, the salesman, Kevin, who is still at the store today, in fact, I saw him about a week ago. He says, you know, there's this thing called Tracker Rewards. And this is probably 8-9 years ago. And I said, well, what's that? He goes, if you do a qualifying tournament, Bass Pro will pay you to place with that boat. And I went, oh. And I found out this tournament series, the Minnesota Fishing Challenge, which actually raises money for people that are addicted to drugs, helps pay their way so that they don't. And I went and fished it, and I came in third, and Al Linder came in second. And up here, Al Linder is absolutely famous and one of the best fishermen in the 5 states. And I came in one place behind him, and I was hooked. That from then on, I've literally been doing tournaments.
I can imagine that feeling. You know, I know you had mentioned you lost your grandfather, and you had put down the fishing rods and everything, and put down fishing for a while. And I can definitely relate to that. I lost my brother this year, and it was very difficult for me to fish after that. I was finding a very hard time finding that passion that I originally had for fishing, that need to get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, get out on the water, that drive that pushes you out there through the weather, through the conditions out there, and keeps you out there, keeps you staying out there. You know, that drive and passion for fishing, I had lost it, or at least I thought I did. And it hurt. As you know, I love to catch sunrises every morning. That was my inspiration for the day, and to watch the sunrise, because it is the universal symbol that there's a new day, and that anything can happen, that yesterday is gone, and today is new. It's a new chapter, a new start, a new beginning. And I needed that. And I would watch the sunrise every morning, and I would share it with people on social media, as you know. And I would fish right after that. That was my routine every single morning, 4 o'clock every day. And then when my brother passed, I just lost that ambition. I lost that drive and passion. And it's been still hard, but I've been slowly getting it back. That want, that desire to get out there and out on the water. I miss it because it was a part of me. It was something I never knew I had. It was in me, and I do miss it. So I relate to that. I know exactly how you felt and how you feel. And there's nothing like picking those rods up again and going back out there, though, and feeling why you were out there to begin with. Because, and I always say this, I believe it was Henry David Thoreau that said, many a men go fishing all their lives without knowing it is not the fish that they are after. I believe it was Thoreau that, said that, but it's one of my favorites. And it's true, because I always say the fish are the bonus. You go out there, you're immersed in Mother Nature. You are literally immersed, and the beauty that surrounds you, just it without trying to sound too corny or too dramatic or whatever, but it awakens something inside of you. And I know you feel that too. I know every fisherman feels that, and they'd be lying if they said they didn't. But it's an incredible feeling to be out there. And the fish, you get a fish on that line, well, that's just the bonus, But yeah, without getting off topic, but I know exactly how you feel. But I'm glad that you picked them back up and continued on that path, because now look where you are today.
Yeah, I learned from my dad, you don't do things halfway. If you're going to do them, do them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did.
Oh, I think I froze up there, but I heard you said that's what you did. Don't do things half through, your dad said.
Yeah. And the other part of it is about caring about people, because my tournament life is what I do for me. I mean, that's the adrenaline, that's the competition. I mean, that's the camaraderie, and there's the other side that I value. I make sure every year that I'm taking out what's known here as the Big Brothers Big Sisters, and those are some heart things. I had a boy that was probably 10, 11 years old, and we're out there fishing, and I'm trying to show him how to fish, and he says, well, it doesn't really matter because I never catch any fish anyways. And I said, well, that's okay. If you don't catch fish anyways, then it's not going to hurt to do exactly what I say. So we end up filling up this 5-gallon bucket full of crappies. And we go in and we turn them into this, because it's a little competition that they have going on there. And he ends up winning a signed basketball for what he had. And I looked at him and I said, your future, I understand that you have disappointments with what goes on in your family. You're used to being told probably that you're going to do something that you don't end up doing. And you get pretty used to that, but life's about your decisions. It's a lot of stories like when I do the Minnesota Fishing Challenge every year, and we raise $250,000 so people can go to treatment that don't have any insurance, don't have any money, don't have any means. And I always try to take one of the people directly right out of treatment and throw them in my big fancy boat and take them out fishing and provide them with rods and reels and tackle boxes and anything that I might win through the tournament. I give to these kids from, wow. And it's really that stuff that brings the value to my life. And the tournaments, tournaments are great. Tournaments, I really learned how to fish through the tournaments. But doing that other stuff is where Matt's heart is. You know, I mean, I have passion out there going for the tournaments, but my heart gets involved with the volunteer work, and I think that's so important that we do that. And I also guide for the high school kids in bass, not even walleye, and that's why you know, coming into KastKing had a purpose for me. I could afford the rods because I had a rod sponsor at the time. But those reels were so expensive because I'm giving them away, you know. And when I met up with KastKing and we worked a deal out, I can afford because of what KastKing has done to give these kids the rods that they use when they're fishing with me, and the looks on their faces, they never forget stuff like that.
No, they don't.
Forget stuff like that. And it's about them, because I've got the big fancy boat and I got the pro jersey and I'm doing all these things. But when I talk to them, I'm talking to them as an equal. They get to feel something they probably never felt before. And when they walk away with something, remember that. That's what I want. That's the insides of Matt, if you will. It's about, if I could do all that and do just that, I would. But I also have the competitive side, and it's just not right competing against 6-year-olds. So
No, but on a serious note, though, that's why I love what you do, and I love the person you are. It just speaks for your character, Matt. Because I have to tell you, I was one of those little kids. I was one of those little kids that was helped. I didn't come from a good home, and it was very bad childhood for me. So I looked up to people like you that were there, and even just what you do, just being there for somebody, giving them a reel, a fishing rod, or showing them how to fish, or teaching them different techniques, or just being there with them, guiding them for however long you're there with them, will last a lifetime in that child's heart, soul, mind. Believe me when I say it, because like I said, I was one of those children. And it's why I became an officer, a police officer, so that I could help people, protect people. It's why I got into that. And so I admire that. I look up to what you do, and it really means a lot. And I'm really proud of that. And, you know, I mean, that's something that our children, they're our future, you know that, and guiding them and helping them and putting them on that right path, I think is very important. And
yeah.
I really respect that. So I'm very happy that that you're in this field with the heart that you have. You know, you have a really big heart, and it definitely means a lot.
I do, and it really gets me out of my shell, because if there was one secret about Matt that I could give on your show, would be that I'm actually very shy.
Really, I would not expect that, knowing how I met you, you know, and at the shows, and come right up and talk to you. You would never know that.
But I can talk, and I really, really enjoy talking. But the inside's always been shy. You know, wow. So if I can pull out that out of someone that I'm with, that's another mission of mine. You know,
well, Matt, would you believe me if I told you that I'm shy as well?
Well, same thing, right?
Exactly. I am a very shy person. A lot of people, I would say that to people, and they look at me and no, because if everybody who knows me knows I'm, hey, how you doing? Big hugger. I love you. You know, I'm joyful and just jovial and happy and excited, and it's just my spirit, you know. But honestly, you know, I'm a very shy person as well, and unless I know you and I come out of my shell, I'm more comfortable. I can talk when I come out of my shell, you know. But just hold on a second, Matt. I just have to read a little word from our sponsors here. KastKing offers you affordable innovation through the best fishing tackle, including a wide variety of quality fishing rods, fishing reels, fishing line, and fishing accessories. Look for KastKing products on Amazon.com, Tackle Warehouse, AcademyOutdoors.com, eBay, and of course, KastKing.com. Make the switch to KastKing like so many fishing pros have. Okay, we are back with Mr. Matt Jollymore, and we were just kind of diving in and figuring out Matt and everything that he does. And we were just talking about the things that he does for our children, our youth, guiding them and helping them in fishing, teaching them different techniques and giving them free things, especially people that can't afford them, or giving them reels, you know, especially from KastKing. Which is really awesome. Another thing that I love about KastKing. But that's great, you know. And you do a lot of tournaments, Matt? Are you into a lot of tournament fishing?
Yeah, well, I do one major pro series. I do the AIM Pro Walleye series. That's the main one that I do. The other tournaments, obviously, the Minnesota Fishing Challenge is actually a tournament, but it's not a series.
It froze up there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But no, I do the AIM Pro Walleye Series tournaments. Wow. That's my main series, and this year I'll be adding some MTT. But I don't want to get too much into a lot of the tournaments because I still want to be available for the Bass tournaments and out there helping our high schoolers get into the sport.
Wow.
So, yeah, I have a good.
So what would you say is your number one fish that you fish for? Is it bass, walleye?
No, I'm a walleye fisherman by heart.
You're a walleye fisherman by heart?
Oh yeah.
Walleye. Walleye. How do you say it?
Well, we don't say it like New York. We say we kind of put the "a" in it, so we say walleye. So
walleye?
Really, yeah.
Walleye.
Yeah. But the problem is that when you're helping out these high school kids, I mean, if I turn this camera on and you saw my wall, you'd be able to see that there's 50% bass rods and reels, there's 50% walleye reels, and now there's even sturgeon reels, and hopefully this year I get to go down and do some catfish. I don't think a real fisherman really has like, I hate catching pike. They just fight too much, you know.
So
but
would you say it's a walleye wall? Mostly a walleye wall?
Walleye wall? Well, I'd have to say yes on that, but you know, I used to believe that, and your bass guys are going to rip me up in the comments on this.
Oh, I'm sure.
I really believe that bass, really, you just put your hands over the side of the boat and wiggle them a little bit, and the bass pretty much come up. You know,
I can't believe you said that.
No, that was before I started guiding the high school bass leagues. And the thing is that when I'm helping someone, I want to know. And when you start helping out the bass leagues, my brain said, I better learn how to bass fish. And I found that there's a lot more to it than wiggling your fingers. I'm just saying that right now. So no, you hate me. And now I'm really getting into techniques and starting to understand what the bass do, when they do. And a lot of the things that I teach high school kids is about power and action of a rod, and understanding when to use what power and what action and how that relates to the bait. And especially when you're talking, if you're trolling for walleyes, if you're throwing spinners or chatterbaits versus doing finesse fishing, on really what power and action and why, and how to adjust to the fish. Let's say you're throwing spinners. Here's one of the things that I tell you. If you're throwing spinners, you're coming over the top of the wheel, is that you're probably sitting there with a extra heavy powered rod with a fast action tip, and you need to go down to a medium, because the fish are hitting it. There's no flexibility because they're all running braid now. And it's actually ripping out of the fish's mouth. So go down in your power, go from either an extra fast to a medium type action, and you'll start catching those fish. And really understanding that kind of philosophy around the bass has been what I'm doing, just to make sure that when I help these kids, I can truly help these kids.
Right. So you're learning so that you can teach them. So
Exactly.
you're teaching yourself. So you make sure that you teach them the right things. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Nick, some of our bass guys are doing some amazing videos right now. And I'm telling you, I watch those videos and I'm learning, and I'll be back out in the water when it stops being frozen. We're just now getting our lakes frozen for ice fishing season. I'll be using those techniques. So I watch everything bass people do to learn. And hopefully with some of the videos I do this summer, I can teach some bass techniques, some walleye techniques also. But we definitely be doing some videos on ice fishing. And that's when we actually go out on water that's frozen. I know
you were talking about frozen water, and we froze up. Actually, that was pretty funny. I'll take it. End the show right there. Stop. That's the end of the show, where you're talking about freezing and the video freezes. I'm done. Drop the mic. I'm out of here. No, I'm not. But seriously, no, I don't know about that ice. I would love to go out and ice fish. I've never been ice fishing. I hear about it all the time. I'm from New York, if you can't tell already from my thick New York accent. Yes, I am from New York. All my fellow New Yorkers around. But seriously, my friends, they tease me all the time because I live here in Florida. And I would love to go ice fishing and learn. It's just something I want to have in my own toolbox of being versatile in fishing, learning different. I want to be a fly fisherman. I want to learn how to fly fish. Fly fishing to me is an art form. I mean, that's art to me.
Our cat, you know who got me over the edge to come to KastKing?
No, please tell me.
Another company, and I was your typical person that said, how can an inexpensive rod, inexpensive reel work good enough? I literally contacted Sandy and said, what do you think about this? And she told me they're 100% worth it. And that's what made me sign that line on that contract and go forward. And, now I'm 100% believer. But yeah, it was all Sandy Roberts.
I love Sandy. Yeah, I froze again. So we were just saying Sandy Roberts. I love Sandy. Yeah. She's great.
Yeah, I reached out to Sandy to ask her what she thought of the rods and the reels, and because I had come to trust Sandy, and that's literally what allowed me to give up where I was at and to come here. And now these are tournament quality rods and reels that we have. I use them only. I don't use any other brand, and I do all the walleye tournaments. I do all the bass tournaments with them, with the kids, and now the ice fishing rod. I keep pointing because these are my convert rods over here. I don't know if they come across on video, but
oh yeah,
look at this.
That's awesome.
I
know for the people in podcast land out there that can't see it, because I'm sitting here doing a video with Matt. He has a beautiful table set up. He's got a beautiful background set up. He's on the water with the dock, but not really. He's got a table set up, and he has all kinds of really awesome KastKing products. He's got all kinds of KastKing products out, and so it's pretty cool. We're looking at all of his face masks and ice rods and scissors and rod holders. It's awesome.
And the 23
really great
white ice cleats. That's actually what this is on, is my boot.
He's got the face mask on his boot with the ice cleats.
Yep.
Oh, it's great. Now, where are you located? We're talking about ice fishing. Where are you?
I'm right in about central Minnesota.
Okay.
And that's how you know I'm Minnesota. Yeah, well, you can always tell a true Minnesotan because we never say Minnesota. We always say Minnesota.
Ah.
But the ice in some areas are good, some areas are not. Where we put out our ice house, I believe it was a week and a half ago, literally opened up to 300 feet of water. So it's still kind of that time of the year. And I'm making sure that the ice is nice and solid before I head out. It just needs to be,
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have safety.
You gotta be safe. You gotta be safe.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll have to ice fish sometime. I definitely want to learn.
Well, you're gonna have to buy a jacket.
I know this Florida weather, the sweater's not gonna cut it.
My buddy that's down in Florida called me and said, we're freezing to death down here. It's gonna be 31 degrees. And I said, Daniel, you used to be my next door neighbor. 31 degrees, you were in shorts out there snow blowing. And I'm not kidding. He actually did. He was in shorts snow blowing. And I said, now you're talking about freezing to death in 31 degrees. I said, I don't want to hear about it.
Bad, I was the same way. Again, coming from New York, I'm used to those below freezing temperatures with all the snow and the ice. And in fact, that's how I got hurt at the sheriff's department, is one of them icy days. Fell down the stairs, slipped and fell down the stairs. But yeah, and then I come to Florida, right? And now I have the Florida blood, where it gets below 70 and you're freezing. You are in hoodies, you are in jackets out there in a parka when it's 60 degrees. I mean, I'm freezing cold. It's just your body. It's amazing how that happens.
When I was in Arizona and lived there, coming out of Minnesota, and I went out in the outdoor whirlpool in December when it was 55 degrees outside. The locals thought I was exactly that. It's local. But I got that Arizona blood. I still don't do the cold like I used to. I totally get that Arizona, Florida blood. That's
it's true. It's a real thing. And we froze up again. But we were just saying, yes, Florida blood, Arizona blood, but Florida blood, yes, it is a true thing. It's science, Matt. It's science. But oh yeah. Now I have to ask you the question. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, being an outdoorsman or fishing or what your life is right now, what would you be doing? Is there any other passions that you have that you wanted to do, or something that you haven't, or a hobby that you do now? I'm sorry, Matt, we froze.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, if you weren't doing what you do now, is there any other passions that you would have wanted to do, or that you have a hobby that you love doing that's not fishing related? Or
one, teaching. For sure. Two, the camp counselor. I think that'd be an awesome job.
Wow.
Our officer. 100%.
Say that again.
A DNR officer.
A DNR?
Yep.
Wow.
Again,
everything outdoors, everything camp and DNR. That's awesome. I mean, that's great. That's great that you want to do that. Just speaks what your passion is,
It really does. Everything I do, I think, is I'm finding that the things that bring me the most value are those times when I get to help other people the most.
Right.
That's just what. That's why computer engineering is what I do. I'm not passionate about it because I really don't get to help people. That's why I put all that into everything else I do.
I could see that. That's your true calling. Teaching, especially children, our youth. You enjoy that. That's your passion. Being able to teach them and guide them, and that just speaks who you are. Speaks on your character.
Yeah. I hope it does. I hope it shows.
It really does.
but yeah, I'm hoping that this year that we get ICAST. And I don't know how, I hope enough people get shots that we get ICAST. Because it'd be nice to be down in Florida for a little bit.
Yeah.
And go fishing down there. You know, I actually think, talking about fishing down in Florida, I believe I went alligator hunting when I was down in Orlando last time. Or not last time, but we went to vacation. I went down there. And, you know, I keep looking at Gus, wondering if he was the one that took me out in the airboat. I got in a little trouble in that one. He just wanted to touch it. Well, yeah, I've watched so many of those alligator shows. My mind said, yeah, as long as you touch them right here, you're fine.
Oh my God.
It was only a 9-footer.
Oh my God.
But, I want to do bass fishing in Florida. That's definitely on my bucket list.
Yes, they say fishing here in Florida is the bass capital of the world. I mean, this is where you're going to catch your big bass. And when I moved down here, I had that expectation, you know, but being a pond fisherman like I am, you know, I caught a few 5 or 6 pounders, but it is very difficult. It's a whole different way of fishing. I had to teach myself, coming from Illinois, from New York. It's just completely different techniques, different things that the bass like here. It's just a different way.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. So I learned that being in Florida here is just a different way. You have to learn different way of fishing, different techniques for sure, but fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I even want to get down to Arizona. I lived in Arizona, everyone fishing. I didn't know they really had lakes.
Right. Well, you wouldn't think. Matt, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show. I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight, being part of this with us.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for opening up your lives to us for a few minutes tonight and just sharing who you are. It really definitely meant a lot.
All right. Well, anytime. Absolutely anytime. I had a blast. So
thank you so much, Matt. So KastKing spells affordable innovation. Make the switch to KastKing for the best value in fishing gear. KastKing offers you an affordable quality alternative to high-priced fishing products. Thanks for spending time today with KastKing on the Line. This is Nikki, and I'll catch you guys in the next adventure. Keep grinding, stay strong, always stay humble, and always keep on fishing. Thanks again, Matt. We'll talk to you soon.
all right, we'll see you.